Coming to you live from parts unknown. Here are two guys hanging out, chatting about life, crime, and passing time. One loves to wear his sunglasses inside. He's a connoisseur of tasteless thoughts and an avid fan of Dawson's Creek. Who isn't? And the other is a man who's always willing to one-up your story. He loves his lawn a little too much and has a closet full of white New Balance sneakers. Who doesn't? Here are Captain and Morgan.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Captain Ed Morgan. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
Stop and listen to us.
For listening. No, stop and listen to us. I am your host, Morgan, and with me once again, she is the dick cake queen of England. She is the princess of North Devon. That's right, Dottie. She shunned London for the country living of North Devon.
She did indeed.
She is Cherry.
She is live from the Batcave.
You know what? I think I'm going to start Dottie as a listener. Okay. I'm going to start just dropping random listeners' names just to see if they actually listen. Yeah. So hello, Dottie in London. London. She's probably in the tube somewhere listening to us.
She's got her iPods in. She's listening to us on the tube, on the Jubilee line.
Oh yeah, she definitely has those iPods in. Because in England's like iPod, Apple World or something. Everyone has iPods there. Right?
It's because we're unsociable. That's why we like to just put things in our ears and just ignore everyone. That's why. We're just rude. It's rude, really. It's not nice.
See, maybe. Mm-hmm. I wonder how odd it would be. Like if you were to come to Ohio or any Midwest city for the most part, and just would it be weird if someone completely random stranger walking down the street says hello to you?
No.
Hello. How's it going?
I do it all the time, and people look at me really faint, or I say, "Oh, your hair's really nice," and they go, "Oh, thanks." Okay then, nice jeans. And they just look at me like, I think I'm going to fit in America really well.
Yeah, so I think especially here, like saying hello is nothing abnormal.
No, it's just nice. It's nice.
It is. I don't know why people do it or why I do it, but it's probably just habit now. You know, you're kind of taught to do that, or other people. So at some point in my life, someone said hello to me while I'm walking down the street, and then I pick it up, or maybe it's my parents. I don't know.
But isn't it nice if you're walking down the street and someone smiles at you and says, hiya, or morning? It's just nice. I do it all the time. And, you know.
It is nice.
If you did it to my mum would look at you like you're about to steal her purse. She would be like, she lives in London, and she would look at you like, what do you want? You want something? And it takes her, when she comes to visit, it takes her a few days to get into the whole laid back country happy life.
Yeah. But it's weird because you can't do that everywhere, right?
No.
So I have two sisters. At one point, both those sisters lived in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Since then, one's moved back here. The other one's actually in England now. But there was one time I went to go visit them, and I don't know why or what happened. But at some point, I turned to my sister Claire and I said, "Hey," I was like, "Look, I'm gonna say hello and wave to everyone on the street until I don't get a reaction like, what the hell are you doing? Right? So either someone waves back and says, oh, hello, like normal.
Yeah.
I would think is normal. And not just kind of like reluctantly say like, you know how if you could say hello to someone on the street and they're like, hi, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole time I was there, I did it. Just, hey, hi, how's it going? Hello, hey. I don't think I got one person.
Serious?
To think it was like to give what I would consider a normal reaction, like, oh, hello, oh, hi, or how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? You know?
Yeah, that's mad. Not one. Well, they just look at you weird.
Philly. Yeah, like I was crazy.
But like Philadelphia's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, though. So that's all really happy and high-fiving and yay.
No.
Oh.
But you got to remember, so Bel-Air's in California, so he lived in West Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
He was born and raised.
On the playground.
On the playground is where he spent most of his days. I don't know what happened. What happened? Like
His mum said,
he
"You
hit
got to
some
go."
gang members.
Yeah. he's
Well,
got-
yeah, because he was going to get his ass kicked because he had a terrible jump shot and hit some other kids, and they're going to whoop his ass.
I think they only got in one little fight, and his mum got a bit scared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you really think?
Yeah.
Come on, West Philadelphia. If you live in Philadelphia or around Philadelphia, do you think someone in West Philadelphia only got in one little fight?
No, it's just
No.
because his mum just was like, no, not having this. You're going to go and live with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Off you go. Everyone knows that. Everyone our age knows that song. If you just put that on in a club, that's people of our age, everyone will be singing.
Hey,
I might play that on the radio next week. I know they've got it. I might play it. I might do that. It'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
And I'll
What day?
see if I can get away with it. All week.
All week. What time?
All week. It'll be 3 till 6 my time. So it'll be 3.
From 3 till 6.
Yes. On the
3 till
voice.
6. On the voice. PJ on the voice.
Yeah.
Is that how it goes? I don't know.
I need a new one of those.
It's your jingle or would
Yeah.
it be a drop?
Mine's rubbish.
What is it?
It's like some lady just goes, PJ. It sounds really weird.
PJ
Yeah.
on the voice.
Yeah.
No, it needs to be more upbeat. PJ on the voice. Something like that.
Okay.
North Devon's voice is PJ from 3 to 6. I don't know.
There you go. You got a job.
I got shut.
I'm gonna call you up to read the weather. They'll be like, "What
You
is?
want me to read the weather?
Where is this? Like, what's this American number you keep calling?" I'll be like, "Yeah, it's just it's reading my weather."
Here's your North Devon forecast from Morgan.
Can you imagine? They would love it.
Can I give them the beach report?
Yeah, definitely. Why not?
What's the beach you go to up there? What's the
There's
hot
loads.
North Devon beach?
We've
What's
got,
the hot one?
well, I expect. Well, Saunton and Croyd are pretty good beaches, pretty good ones. They're good for surfing and stuff. But then you got Westwood Ho, the only town.
Westwood Ho.
Yeah, it's the only
Say
town.
Westwood Ho.
Yeah, it's the only town with an exclamation mark at the end.
Westwood Ho.
Yeah,
Hold on, I
we're
got
in the Ho.
West.
It's Westward, so WARD, Westward Ho.
West Ward.
Yeah, Ho.
That what?
Yeah,
It really does have an exclamation
it
point.
does. It's
Why?
the only one in the whole country that's got an exclamation mark at the
What?
end.
Probably in the whole world.
Yeah, maybe. Where are you going? To the Ho. See, it
Ho.
deserves one.
That's a beach I want to go to.
It's cool.
We-
Good
hey,
beach.
We're hanging out this weekend. Westwood Ho. I keep saying wood. Westward.
No, it is.
Ho?
It's Westwood. Yeah, Westwood Ho.
So let's see. Salton Sands.
Yeah, that's where lots of like Robbie Williams has done like videos for his songs and stuff there. It's quite a good beach, very famous beach. Very nice beach.
I don't know. You really don't think of beaches when you think of England, do you?
No, not really. It's more like I think people think of England as like the Garden of England. It's like gardeny, but no, we've got some good beaches. Really good.
Now, how's the sand? Is it
So Saunton and Croyd beaches are sandy. Westwood Ho is pebbly and then sandy.
ho?
Ho, ho.
Wait, so you have to walk through the pebbles to get to the sand.
They're like massive pebbles. There's a big event every year where everyone goes down and puts the pebbles back because the pebble ridge just keeps moving with the tide. So everyone goes down, has a little party and puts the pebbles back. It's so country.
Is the water cold?
Yeah, well, see, I'm a wuss because I don't like English beaches. I like water that you can see through because if there's anything that's going to swim up your pants, then you can see it first. So strictly no swimming in England for me.
Oh, is it? So it's mucky water.
Well, it's not.
There's a lot of sand in it.
Yeah, it's sandy
dark.
water. Yeah, it's not like Capri or Santorini or anything like that. Proper beaches.
Yeah, my daughter absolutely wants to go somewhere that has like crystal clear or like blue water.
That's my kind
So
of
I've been like
water.
messing around, like where should we go on vacation? It's like, should we go to Hawaii? Should we go to Bahamas? And she's like, do they have blue water in Hawaii or Hawaii? Yep.
Bless
They have
her.
blue water in Bahamas. Yep. Honestly, the most beautiful waters I've ever seen were in the Bahamas. I've been to Bahamas once,
Mm.
and I might have told the story on on one of the episodes, but it was my senior year, and I had my senior year I took marine biology, and I took it
No.
because yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we had marine biology. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We got to like
Yeah.
cut up in sharks and stuff. But for spring break every year, the marine biology class goes to the Bahamas for a week. Now, when you think Bahamas, you probably think of like Atlantis or like all those like resort hotels and
Yeah.
casinos, yada yada yada. No, that's not what we did. So the Bahamas, of course, it's I don't know how much you know about the Bahamas. The Bahamas are like thousands of islands.
Mm.
So those are the Bahamian Islands. Well, our trip, we flew into Andros Island, which is the largest, Bahamian island, but it's also the poorest.
Okay.
So most of the people that live there are living in poverty, or you could tell when you're there. There's like nothing there. There's like some little towns and villages, whatever, and a lot of houses that they started to build, but they never finished. But we went there because the trip was we were sailing for 7 days to all these mostly uninhabited islands in the Bahamas.
That's cool.
So it's like there's a chain of islands. They're called like the Exumas, or there's the Great Exumas and the Lesser Exumas, whatever. So so we did that, and the waters there and all these islands were so beautiful. Like we went to one, which is Norman's Key, which is also at one point back in the 80s was known as Cocaine Island.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this.
So the island was owned by Pablo Escobar and Carlos Later. Have you ever watched the movie Blow with Johnny Depp?
No, I don't think I've seen it. I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, if you ever watch it, there's a scene where he flies to the Bahamas to go, to confront some people. That was Cocaine Island. And so the mansion's still there. It's completely run down and abandoned. I'm assuming it's still there. Now, I went there 20 some years ago.
Mm.
But also another cool thing is inside the little lagoon, there's actually a plane that crashed into the lagoon. It's still there. So we got to snorkel through that.
No way. That's cool.
Now, there's different stories about how it got there. Everyone agrees that it was a drug plane.
Oh.
And the two stories, the stories might, if you actually put the stories together, it might be the truth. So if I put the stories together, the story is that the pilot got into the stash, did a little bit of cocaine while he's flying. And so when they're flying, they actually had to fly in at night to avoid, DEA and anyone else who might be looking. So flying in the night, he sees the reflection of the moon off the lagoon, the water lagoon. He's on, he's high on cocaine.
Yeah.
He thinks that's the runway. So he goes and lands. Oh, nope, it's water.
Oh dear. And that's it.
Ugh.
Dead. Down. All your cocaine's just dissolved in the water. The fish are really happy, and you're dead.
Possibly. Now, if they did a good job, it was all, they protected it fairly well, but who knows? That might be a good topic to talk about sometime.
I like that.
Pablo Escobar and his drug cartel, and and Carlos Later, who apparently, so Carlos Later was arrested, and he has been in jail since like 1987 in the United States. Apparently, he was released last week, and he was sent to Germany to receive like cancer treatment or something.
Ah.
I know all about Carlos Later. He's my dude.
He's your dude.
I actually got the heads up by one of my friends who went to high school with him, was actually in marine biology with me.
Yeah.
And he did. He sent me a message saying Carlos Later was released from prison last month and sent to Germany to get cancer treatment. And the reason why he did that is so after this whole, marine biology spring break trip to the Bahamas, we go back, and like after that, we're seniors in high school, and everything's kind of wrapping down. So I think we had like one other like major, I don't want to call it a major project, one other like assignment that we had to do after the trip.
Yeah.
Which was basically create a board game based off of, something that we learned in marine biology. And so I created a game with some of my friends. I think we were like in groups of three or four, something like that. But our game was Carlos Laterland.
Oh God.
And so it was basically like Candyland, but it was Carlos Later in his mansion and everything.
I bet your teachers love that.
Oh, Mr. Hall. I love Mr. Hall. I drove past his house earlier this week and I saw him. I didn't wave, but I was like, hey, there's Mr. Hall.
Did you reckon he recognize you?
I don't know if he would recognize me. It's tough because
he probably looks the same, but you look so different.
Yeah. And he's had so many students. Now, if I were to say, hey, Mr. Hall, hey, I was in marine biology class, graduated in 98. I was the one who in the yearbook for my yearbook quote mentioned you. And I said, our trip to the Bahamas, we learned lots of blah, 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 blah. And from seeing Mr. Hall in a Speedo, I learned the importance of physical fitness.
Oh, I bet you love that.
I forget the whole quote, but if I were to say that, he would absolutely be like, okay, I remember.
You're that kid I wanted to kill.
Mr. Hall was one of those like really, really like pale guys. So he got like lobster red on that trip.
Oh no, poor guy.
He was great. He was one of my favorite teachers.
That's good. Oh, I love it. When you have a good teacher, it's worth everything. It's brilliant. You always get the really nice ones, and you get the ones that you just want to smack in the legs with the trolley when you see them in the supermarket.
Yeah, that's a tough thing about school, and there's definitely teachers that I had, I'm sure you've had, and everyone listeners have had, that you can tell that they really don't want to be there.
Yeah,
and they're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, and with some of the kids in my class, really I can understand why. Some of them were awful. I wouldn't have liked to teach some of my class.
No, so you can understand. Like, yeah, with that, you're just kind of like, oh, forget this. Yeah, I had like Miss Jackson, who she was a math teacher, and you can just tell she was just fed up.
I think my maths teacher just gave up on me in the end. Maths is not my strong point, and he was just like, look, you're doing really well, just stick at it. And I was like, really? I can't remember a word you said this morning. It's just gone. And he's like, I think you just need to admit defeat. I said, yeah, I will. I'll just admit defeat, I think.
I struggled at math. Like math, I struggled at. No, I could do math, but like equations, I was terrible at it.
Yeah, that's what Google's for. There's no need. There's no need to know that kind of stuff.
I think when by the time I got in high school, I think there were multiple things going against me. One, I'm pretty sure my ADD wasn't helping with math. Like I was so distracted. But the other thing is, I didn't. Well, after I graduated, I realized I needed glasses. So I went through like school needing glasses, not knowing I needed glasses, and really not being able to see like the overhead projector or whatever, or the blackboard. I just thought that was normal. It's like if I can't see it, no one else can see it. So
yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I remember get my first glasses when I was like 22, I think, and I was watching rugby, and I was like, I can't see like where it is, and then I went and had my eyes tested, got my glasses, and I was like, wow, everything's so clear. It all looks really good. So yeah, I wear contacts now though, because I can't work with glasses. I only wear glasses at home, but I wear contacts usually, so no one even knows.
I forgot about you in rugby.
Oh,
you told me that.
I love rugby. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Now, is women's rugby, is that big in England?
It's getting big. I mean, our English team is the Red Roses, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They are amazing. They win everything. Our English team is the best. We win all of our matches, all of our Six Nations. We are on top. We do really well. They're a good bunch of girls. Really good.
So basically, you're the United States women's soccer team equivalent.
Yeah, maybe. But I think we're better than that.
You do?
Yeah, we're way better.
Crazy though, like no, it's impressive because it's weird how, especially like in football, soccer, the difference in skill. I don't want to say the difference in skill, but how the U.S. women are so much better when it comes to the world stage than the men.
Yeah.
And I think, it has to do with, I think in the United States, it's more common for girls to start sports at a young age and continue it.
Right. Okay. They stick to it.
Yeah. that's why I'm kind of surprised with England and rugby, even though so it's a English sport.
Yeah.
In the English football team, women's football team, they're getting better.
Yeah, they're
But
good.
they're definitely not on the same plane as the
No,
United States.
no. They're a good team. Our English team's not bad. I don't know which teams. I think they've got all of them. They've got Premiership versions of all the men's team. And
Oh, that's right.
But do you have that over there? Does your NFL? Do you have women's NFL?
No.
Why not?
I can't give you a good answer. Now, there at one point, I think there was a women's football league.
Okay.
Right, but it wasn't associated with NFL, and I think they mostly played at like high school stadiums. Like there was one in Columbus. I forget what they were called, Columbus Comets or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who they played in basically I could see like the high school stadium lights where they played like from my house. So like right there, but no one goes to them.
Why?
You're gonna make me say?
Yeah, why? Why is it that like the women why hasn't like some
No one wants to watch women play football.
But why?
It's not because the skill level is so dramatically lower.
Okay. So why aren't there women in America that want to watch women play football? Like why is
I
there?
don't know. You gotta ask them.
Yeah, why isn't a girls getting behind it?
It's probably the same thing though. It's probably because the skill level is dramatically lower. Because you have to remember, most of these women that were playing this league, I don't even know if this league is still around. I know that the team here is not around anymore.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, a lot of these women, when they get into this football league, they're older. They have never played organized football before. A vast majority of them,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So the number of women that have actually played football at like even a high school level.
So you don't have it in school?
Minuscule. Women's football? No.
See, we have here, our girls are playing rugby from like year 7. So like from the age of like 11, they're playing rugby. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I guarantee you that there are more women and girls playing rugby than there are playing football.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Because I know that there's high schools that have girls rugby teams.
Yeah.
There's colleges that have
yeah.
women's rugby teams.
Yeah.
Now there's no professional, but there's no like girls high school football.
Oh, that's crazy.
There's no women's college football.
No, that's really bad.
Why do you think it's bad?
Well, because I mean, if you see our girls rugby team, they are beasts. They are amazing, like physically amazing athletes. And I love watching them play rugby. Love it. They're brilliant. I love watching them. And not just, I mean, I love rugby in general, whoever's playing. I don't care whether it's men, women, kids. I love it. I just love the game. I just think, what a waste. Like there must be some girls over there that like, that love like NFL, that love that kind of football league and want to have a go.
Oh no, absolutely.
So
no, absolutely.
Why is there no coaches going, come on, let's start up a league. Let's do it.
I don't know.
Get on this.
I don't know.
Get your daughter's school to start doing proper football.
My daughter would not be playing football.
Why not?
If I had a son, he wouldn't be playing football.
Really?
Too dangerous.
Oh, too dangerous. Okay.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. The number of like concussions.
Yeah.
You got to, think about this, right? Rugby, even though they don't have any padding, well, they don't have like the football helmets, they don't have like shoulder pads or anything.
No, nothing.
It's still a safer sport than football with them having helmets and shoulder pads and everything.
I've had this conversation with our friend Megan, and because I was like, you don't wear any padding over there. English rugby is so much tougher. And she was like, no, seriously, Terry, look at this. It's not like they get so injured. It's so bad. And I mean, I used to box. So my mum hated me boxing. She didn't like it because obviously it's constant punches to the face and she hated it. But I loved it. And I said to my mum, you don't understand. I love it. And I really, really, really enjoy doing it. And then in the end, she just sort of, said, okay, just do it. It's up to you if you end up getting brain damage. But like 8 broken noses later and I'm fine. Absolutely fine.
Well, I mean, okay. So put it this way, right? When we're talking rugby, most tackles are happening within 2 or 3 yards, right? So you're right there.
Yeah.
and so all the action is very close. When we're talking football, there's two things that are going against. Oh, and then also when they're tackling, you're protecting yourself as you're tackling as well, because you don't have this false sense of security.
Yeah.
With things like football, like NFL, you have men that have this sense of protection with helmets,
Yeah.
shoulder pads, pads down the leg, everywhere, right? Rib pads. And they're not just tackling within a small 2 or 3 yard radius. They're coming full blast at you from 10 yards away. You're running, so you're basically, it's like two trains hitting each other.
Do you know what, though? This is making me so excited. I really want to come and watch some football. I love it. It sounds really good. I think I used to play ice hockey and I love hockey. And I think football would be amazing to come over and watch. And we're going to go. When I come, we're going to go and watch some.
Well, you need to go. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. But every year there's like 3 or 4 games that the NFL play in London.
No way.
Yeah, you didn't know this?
No.
Yeah.
Where have I been?
Every year.
I'm going to write this down so I can go and see. No way.
So let me see. So NFL London. Let's see what they did. London games. Okay, so they canceled blah blah blah. They canceled this year.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So they had 2 games. I want to go and look at last year. So what was last?
So exciting. Why have you not told me this before?
I don't know. We've never talked about football.
We haven't, have we? This is really exciting.
Yeah. So they played 4 games. 2 games were played at the Tottenham Stadium.
Okay.
And 2 were at Wembley.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had the Chicago Bears. That's my team. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. Okay. Bear down.
Are they a good team? You can't be biased. Are they a good team?
They're not a bad team.
Okay.
They're middle of the road. They've been middle of the road for a while.
I need to get some. Let me get some up so I can see. Let me just have a look. NFL teams, and then I'll tell you which one I like based on the colors that they're wearing.
So Chicago Bears are my favorite team. Because I'm in Ohio, I also have an affinity towards affinity. Is that even a word?
Yep, definitely a word. Definitely.
I have, so I have affinity towards the Cleveland Browns in a little bit, but not so much towards the Cincinnati Bengals because they're Ohio teams. So if I had to rank like my top 3.
Okay, you can have top 3.
Bears, Browns, Bengals.
Okay, Bears, Browns,
but Bengals would be a very, very, very low third, right? So they're more like 4.7.
Okay. Okay.
No, does that even make sense?
They're a bit rubbish.
No.
Right. I think I was going to go for, Dallas Cowboys. I like their kit. New York Jets. And
Jets? No.
I like their kit. I think I'd go with Jets. And then who else is there? Tennessee Titans. They look quite good. I like their logo. This is just purely going, no game stats. This is purely just going on. Oh, look, Baltimore Ravens. They look quite cool. Oh, look, Seattle Seahawks. I think I've got to think about the birds. No, I'm going to have to go with Cowboys. We're going to have to go, we're going to have to go Dallas Cowboys. I like their kit. They got a good kit.
The Cowboys?
Yeah, and also I quite like cowboy boots and stuff. So I think that would look quite cool.
They do call the Dallas Cowboys America's team.
Oh, so see, I picked a good team straight away. Oh, look at the Raiders.
Dallas is one
They're quite cool. Raiders, Las Vegas. Oh,
they are now the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, they just moved there from Oakland. So since I've been born, all right. So here's the story of the Raiders for you. I know people are so excited about NFL talk, right? So since I was born, I was born in 1979. In 1979, they were the Oakland Raiders, right?
Oh, okay.
Then after I was born, sometime in the early 80s, don't ask me what. I would say 1984. Guessing 1984, they moved to Los Angeles. They were the Los Angeles Raiders. Okay. And they became big in hip hop because the colors in LA, and they're called the Raiders. And so if you remember, like NWA, they'd wear they always wear Raiders hats.
They did,
Raiders jacket. So they were the Raiders, and then I want to say it would have been around maybe 1997 don't quote me on it, around 97, give or take 3 or 4 years. They moved back to Oakland. Back in Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders again. Okay.
Yeah. But they have like the shittiest stadium. They have a shitty owner who probably didn't want to be there. So finally they're like, fuck you, Oakland. Again, we're moving to Las Vegas. So you have the Oakland Raiders. Since I've been bored, Oakland has lost their NFL team twice.
That's bad. That's bad. That's sad. No, I'm going to go with Cowboys. That's going to be my NFL team. I like their kit and I like that man's trousers. So we're going to go with that.
Their kit.
Yep. Do you know what? This is how I choose horse racing. I just choose them from the look of what they're wearing, the jockey's wearing, and I always win. So it's all good.
So you're telling me you don't like the orange and brown of the Cleveland Browns?
Well, see, because I'm a redhead, orange does not go. Whereas I can see myself in a Dallas Cowboys shirt. So if any of you from the Dallas Cowboys team are listening, which you may well be, send me a shirt and I shall wear it. No, I think I like it. That's my adopted team. We're going to go with them.
Okay, so if I were to, let's see, what would be a good example? Who would be the Dallas Cowboys of like the EPL?
Oh, hang on. EPL, hang on. Who's this? Oh no, we're not talking about the Tiger Cats, are we? Because I love them. That's the C.
Oh no, that's the
CFL. Okay, that's different.
I'm talking about the English Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Premier League. So if the Dallas Cowboys were a Premier League team, I would call them.
They would be Manchester City United. Yeah, they'd be Manchester.
No,
City.
They wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
No,
they'd be top.
They would be like. Well, okay. Up until this year, they would probably be like the Liverpool of the Premier League, right? So they're a team that's constantly that they're good, right? Or they're supposed to be good.
Yeah.
And they could be champion, but they never really are. They never can't do it. Like they were huge. They were really, really good in the 70s
and the 96
and the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 90s. They were really, really good. But then since then they've been meh.
Okay.
So they would be taking out this year doesn't count. They would be Liverpool of the Premier League.
Well, I can deal with that. I don't mind that. Liverpool's not bad. I don't mind. I support a team that's really low in the Premier League anyway, so it doesn't matter to me whether they win all the time. I just like the kit.
Who's that?
I like Newcastle. Who? Newcastle United is the team. If I had to choose a team, that would be the team that I would go and see. They're like 13th, I think, this year or somewhere really bad, but it's all good. I've got faith. You don't just like them because they win.
I do not have a Premier League team.
Okay, so I've chosen an NFL one. Now you have to choose a Premiership team, football team.
Okay, so at one point, because my sister lived there, I was a Bolton Wanderers fan, but they're no longer in EPL. They're not even in the championship. They're not even in was it League One?
League One, no.
They went down to 2 this year, so
yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
It is. I would. If I went on places I would want to go, I would choose Brighton. I would love to go to Brighton.
Okay. I will take.
What's wrong with Brighton?
Nothing is wrong with Brighton. Brighton is fabulous.
I know. So if we're talking solely on places I would want to go, I'd want to go to Brighton.
Right. Okay.
One of my good friends is from Leicester. And he's a huge Leicester City fan, so I would go with the Foxes of Leicester.
Leicester City have got an amazing rugby team. Leicester Tigers, they are a really good team.
Yeah.
Really good team. So let's ditch the football because football's rubbish, so we'll go with rugby. I'm quite happy to take you to loads of rugby matches. Okay,
so here we go. But there's 2. Is it rugby league or rugby union?
No, we want rugby union. Rugby league it's good, but it's not as good as, well, in my opinion, it's not as good as union.
Rugby union kits. Okay, so I'm going to look this up. This has to be the most exciting episode ever.
There's people going, yes, they're going to Google the same as us. See, just seeing all the logos just makes me excited.
So Premiership. So we're talking Premiership. So we have Bath, Bristol Bears, Exeter.
Yep, Exeter. That's the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Yeah, that's really close to me. They're my local team, Exeter Chiefs.
Oh, Harlequins.
Harlequins are good. Yeah, they're a good team.
Let me see. Oh, I like their logo.
Yeah, they got a good logo.
I don't know about the kits, though.
See, my team, the team that I support in rugby, is nowhere near where I live. That's Northampton Saints. And they're a great team.
Northampton Saints.
Yeah. Any Saints?
Oh.
Yeah, they're a great team. I love them. Brilliant they are.
Okay.
So you've got like the major ones, which is like the Sharks. You've got Sale Sharks, Leicester Tigers. You've got, who else there? Exeter Chiefs, Saracens, Wasps. Yeah, that's the best team. So you got there's some good teams. So I'm going to be watching out for Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go and follow them on Twitter.
Twitter.
They are going to be my and Insta, because Insta's good because that's where I follow the Tiger Cat. So I like it. It's all good.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Chicago Bears.
Oh, this is so turning into the old show. It so is.
I know it has.
I was going to say it takes us nicely into this week's topic.
It does. I might have to cut some of that down a little bit so we're not talking 2 hours show here. Yeah, so let's hop into this week's topic, which is the murder of former NFL quarterback Steve McNair.
Yes, interesting. This was another one that once I started looking into, it's very, very interesting, this one.
Yeah, who was it? There was someone that made a comment saying, "Hey, I really like these celebrity murder true crime stories that, you kind of forget about." Yeah, and this is another one, and you probably, being NFL, you probably haven't even heard anything about this until we started talking about it.
Nope, never heard of it before.
We need to find something from England that I haven't heard about so I can learn. But
okay, you get all the good stuff over there. You get all the good stuff.
We're so big. Come on, there's a ton of people here. So a ton of people to murder.
That's right.
Ton of people to murder. Did I just say that? Ton of people to murder here in the United States. Now, if this were True Crime Garage, this is where the captain would put in a very sweet, like, opening music montage. So it'd be something like, and then Nick comes in.
Yeah.
So let's get into the murder of Steve McNair. On the morning of July 4th, 2009, the body of 36-year-old former NFL quarterback Steve McNair was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds, along with the body of 20-year-old Chiselle Jenny Kazemi in a condominium rented by McNair at 105 Leah Avenue in downtown Nashville. Steve McNair was born on February 14th, 1973 in Mount Olive, Mississippi. After high school, McNair played college football at Alcorn State in Lorman, Mississippi, where he won the 1994 Walter Payton Award as the top player in NCAA Division I AA. All right. So I know you have no idea what any of that means.
No.
So NCAA is basically the organization, the board that basically oversees most college sports.
Okay. Yeah.
And so Division I AA, that's basically like the second level down. So Division I, they have different names now. So Division I's are like your big schools, like your Ohio State, which I went to.
Yeah.
Your Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, Florida State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Division IA are typically smaller schools. They're smaller schools, and of course, because of that, the players, a lot of these players either weren't big enough or fast enough or whatever to play in Division I, or they knew that even if they could, they knew that they probably had better opportunities down in 1AA. So he played at Alcorn State, which is one of these smaller schools. And with that success that he had in college, he ended up being drafted third overall by the Houston Oilers in the 1995 NFL draft, which is huge, right? So when you're the third pick in the NFL draft, you're pretty good.
That's good.
For someone that's playing at a smaller school that's playing in a lower division, to be the third over pick is huge.
That is huge.
It rarely happens. Now, when it does happen, it usually is a quarterback. I think recently. I'm trying to think. Maybe there's a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, who went and he was drafted in, I think, the top 5. He went to a smaller school. He went to North Dakota, but it really doesn't happen. a lot of times these smaller schools, when players are drafted, they're not drafted in the first round. If they are, they're really, really good. They're most of the time you'll see them start to pop up more often, like in the third, fourth, fifth round.
Okay.
So he was drafted third overall, and at the time, so in 1995, he was actually the highest drafted black quarterback up until that point. So there had been no other African American black quarterbacks that had been drafted higher than him at third.
So he
now
was
since
pretty
then
big
there
stuff
have
then.
he was. Now since then we've had black quarterbacks that have been drafted first overall, and second overall, whatever. But that was huge for a black quarterback to be drafted that high at that point.
And
so you can imagine.
So is everybody wants to be the quarterback because the quarterback's like the coolest one on the team? Is that right?
I think when you're little, yeah. I think when kids first start getting in football, you want to be the quarterback, right? Because the quarterback always has the ball, right?
Okay.
If as a quarterback, you always have the ball, and you're kind of like the leader.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to be the quarterback. I would say that it's probably the most, or one of the most important positions in football, if not the most important. It's a lot more important than, I don't know, being the punter.
Okay.
You have no idea what that means, but that's okay.
Is that the guy that like just kicks?
Yeah, that's the guy that just kicks.
See, I'm not doing too bad. So technical from my end.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're drafted by the Houston Oilers. So the first 2 seasons he played backup roles. I think he played a little bit in the 1996 season, but in 1997 he was named the regular full-time starter for the Tennessee Oilers. So that year, so prior to the 1997 season, Houston moves to Tennessee. I think originally they might have been they played some games in Memphis, but then they played ended up in Nashville. So they were maybe the first 2 seasons they were the Tennessee Oilers, and they ended up changing to the Tennessee Titans. So Steve McNair ended up being the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans from 1997 through the 2005 season. So what are we talking? We're talking 8 seasons.
Yeah, wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
After the 2005 season, Steve ended up being traded to the Baltimore Ravens, and he ended up playing there for an additional 2 years before he retired. He retired after 13 NFL seasons. 13 years in NFL is.
I was going to say that's huge, isn't it?
That's huge. Yeah. I don't know what the average. I don't know what the average career is, but if I had to guess, it's probably maybe 3 or 4 years.
So how old was he when he retired?
When he retired in 2007, he would have been like 34.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, that's quite old, isn't it, for a premier athlete? 34. Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
No, yeah. So 34. Could you imagine being able to retire at 34?
I know, that would be cool.
Multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. It's cool, though. I like it.
Yeah.
They don't just stop there, do they? He probably would have gone on to like teach teams or go on and do like pundits or something like that, wouldn't he? You know, that kind of
thing. I think, well, yeah. Someone like Steve McNair, yeah, he could have easily become like a television pundit.
Yeah.
Either in the broadcast booth as like doing color commentary, or even like, the pregame or postgame show.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of them end up doing. I would say, it's funny. I think very few people that are as skilled or as successful as Steve McNair end up actually coaching in NFL, or even college. It's I don't know why it is. I think a lot of the people that end up being coaches are players that play in college, maybe aren't good enough for NFL, and then they end up starting their path to become a coach after graduating. They become like graduate assistant coaches because they have the time. By the time you're like 34 or whatever, it's probably tough to say, okay, I'm going to restart my career, and I'm going to go on the lowest rung and become like a water boy for whatever team it is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking now, I can't think of any any coaches. Well, no, I take that back. I can think of one coach. And actually, he's the current coach of the Tennessee Titans. His name is Mike Vrabel. He was a linebacker, so he played defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually the head coach of the Titans now. So he would be one of those players that was very highly skilled. He played at Ohio State, played for multiple teams in the NFL. Mostly, I think he spent most of his career playing for the New England Patriots. And he ended up going back coaching 1 year, I think, at Ohio State before he ended up getting hired as the head coach of Tennessee.
It's a good idea, really, because you've got the experience, you've got the back, you know how it feels to be playing in certain positions, you know how it feels to, when it kicks off. I think it's quite a good idea to have somebody that actually has played at such a superior level to then go down to, younger, maybe college students, and then explain to them like what it's like. Because I watched a documentary about NFL, and there's so much behind the scenes. There is so much that goes into it. It's not just the game of football. There's so much that goes into it, and the training and the physical, the physical fitness and the nutrition and that kind of stuff. And I think that would be quite good if they did do this. It's a shame that more of them don't here in England are sort of our football, like our soccer, that you would call it, players. A few of them have gone on to then be coaches, and our actual England coach is a former footballer. So there are some that don't, that haven't played, but most of them have played and then go on to then coach, which I think is a good it's a good winning formula, I think.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think from a mental health standpoint, it's probably good too, right?
Yeah.
So you have, especially if you're in the league. So Steve McNair was in the league for 13 years. You've done that for 13 years. That's where you've made your money. You're in your mid-30s. All of a sudden, you're retired.
Yeah.
From a mental health standpoint, I think that would be really good for a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of problems happen because you're so used to the same regiment, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be so regimental in your life, and then all of a sudden that's gone.
Yeah.
And all you have is time.
It must
just
change
have time on your hands.
Yeah. It must be really strange. It must be a big shock to the system to then wake up. It must be a bit like, I bet they sort of feel almost like grief. I bet it's almost like a loss because they've been used to that for such a long time. And then that's the end of it. And it's almost like you've sort of lost it. It's a bit of like, you're sort of grieving after the end of your career. I can imagine it's quite hard to then just be left, and to not have that anymore.
Now, in this case, I can't say for a fact that maybe that was contributing factors to some of the lifestyle choices that Steve made.
To me,
but it's very, very, very possible.
Yeah, it is possible. But I think when I looked into this case, I mean, I don't know anything about this. Is just me looking at it from us chatting. I looked at this and was like, oh, okay. From looking at this, he's like, hey, I'm a big football star, and I've got a wife and I've also got girlfriends and I'm living this kind of like playboy kind of life. And I was a bit like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I guess that comes with the fame, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a fame thing. He's obviously a big star and that comes with it, I think.
It is a fame thing. But then, I mean, you have to admit or concede that, here's a guy who now just has endless time on his hands.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he's looking for ways to entertain himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a proper way to say it, but yeah, he's
let loose, really, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
He's not going to lose his job anymore for misbehaving and stepping out of line.
I can't say for a fact yes or no. Yeah, he when he was playing, he wasn't going out, running the town, and he didn't have girlfriends in every city he played in. I don't know that for a fact, but for what we know from this case is everything that happened that led towards his death started after his retirement.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Steve was married. He married was married to Michelle McNair, who he married on June 21st, 1997. And they did remain married until his death. Michelle and Steve did have two kids, Tyler and Trenton. And then he had two other sons that were from two other women from before he was married.
Yeah.
And this might be confusing, or you might think this is an error, but it's not. His oldest son is Steve Latrell McNair Jr., And then his second oldest son is Stephen O'Brien McNair. So yes, there is Steve and Stephen.
Yeah.
Or as he goes, maybe it was Steve. So it's Steve and Steve. So Steve had Steve and Steve.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of Steves going on. A whole lot of Steves. So confusing. That must be awful because they're family. Oh, they're Christmas. Oh, they have presents for Steve. Okay, which one? That's just stupid, isn't it? It's just really silly. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't have a choice in one of them. Maybe the one of the women was like, no, he's gonna be your namesake, and he's like, all right, whatever.
Okay.
You call him Steven.
Come on, Stephen. Oh, weird. It's really strange to call two of your sons like Steve after you. It's just weird. But then that's how they did it. There's nothing we can do about it now.
All right, Sherry. So what can you tell us about Jenny Kazemi?
Okay, so Jenny Kazemi was born Sahil Kazemi. So Jenny is like her sort of given name. She was born on 29th of May 1989 in Iran, and she emigrated from Iran when she was 13. Her mum was murdered when she was 9. So that's a tragic start for a young girl.
Oh yeah,
it's awful. She did have a lot of behavioural issues as a teenager. A lot of, obviously, as you would have if your mum's been murdered. It's not a great start. And she moved to Nashville from Jacksonville when she was 16 with her boyfriend, who was called Keith Northley. Now, he was 20 at the time. So she was 16, he was 20, and they moved over to Nashville. They sort of kind of fell out of touch a couple of years after, and this is about 2008. They fell out. They just weren't together anymore. That was the end of that, and that was the month she met Steve McNair. Now, she had started seeing Northley again a few months before she died. But he says that they weren't dating. They just sort of seen each other as platonic friends, but they had got in touch again just before she died, which is weird.
In 2009.
Yeah.
After she met Steve, they kind of reconnected?
Yeah. So they became friends again, like just before she died. A few months before she died, they became friends again, which is really weird.
Okay.
So how she met Steve McNair was she was working at a Dave and Buster's, and she was 19 and he was 35. So like quite a big age gap between the two of them.
Yeah.
And he was a couple of years into his retirement, so he wasn't playing football anymore. He was now retired, and they met while she was working. She was waitressing. He's obviously still married to Michelle, so they've been married more than 10 years and he's still married to her. And he didn't, the weird thing I think about this is he didn't keep this relationship with Jenny a secret. He took her to family vacations. He took her to meet his friends. She'd been all over the place with him. They'd gone on holiday together, but apparently his wife didn't know anything about it, which I find really strange.
Now, okay, so I know that Steve, I don't know if you know this. I don't know this. I know that he spent time between Nashville and he also had a farm in Mississippi. Do you know where his wife was living? Was his wife in Nashville?
I think his wife was in Nashville. As far as I can see, I can't see that it doesn't say anywhere that I could find that she lived anywhere else. So I'm guessing she was in Nashville, and that's where their house, their family home was. I couldn't find anything on, anything to say that it was any different. But yeah, it's strange. I find it really strange that he would be taking this girlfriend to meet his family, and yet his wife knows nothing about it. And I mean, what is family saying? You turn up with your girlfriend, surely somebody must be going, whoa, hang on a minute, you're married. But I don't know.
That is strange.
I mean, they went on holiday together. They went to Vegas together. I mean, what does his wife think about that? She says she didn't know anything about it, apparently.
Okay, when did you say they first met again?
So they first met when she was 19. So that was December, 2008. So it was December 2008. That's when she first kind of met Steve McNair.
So about 7 months. So they were together for about 7 months before the death, right?
Yeah.
That how many?
So so it's not very long.
Wow, that is, and okay. So she wasn't a long-term girlfriend.
No. But I
And
mean,
he was already
this
going
was
on
yeah.
vacations and introducing the family.
And on her 20th birthday, he co-signed with her on this that he basically bought this black Cadillac Escalade for her. And so he bought it, put the down payment down, and then she had to take on the payments then so that she could get out and about and she had a bit of independence. But I mean, he must have had a completely separate life to his wife, because I mean, if my husband had been like put a down payment on a car, you'd be like, whoa, hang on a minute, what's
Yeah.
going on? Who's that for? So
I guess that's the difference between us and multimillionaires. I don't know.
maybe,
That's
yeah,
really strange.
maybe.
So he put it down. So Jenny was responsible for all the car payments.
Yeah.
He did the down payment. He
Yeah.
co-signed for it, but said you have to.
Yeah, you basically have to keep up
pay.
the payments. Yeah. But I mean,
And this is something that ended up leading to more struggles for her down the road.
exactly. I mean, she had quite a lot of money problems, and
Mhm.
she would tell him. I mean, there's text messages between the two of them where she's saying like, "Oh, I'm in so much trouble, and I've got this to pay, and I've got that to pay, and things like that."
Yeah.
And her roommate moved out, leaving her with, I think it was $990. The rent was a month for her apartment, and then you've got the utility
$1,000
bills.
a month, yeah.
Exactly, utility bills on top of that, and any other bills that you've got. Plus, you've got the car payments now, and
She had 2 car payments.
yeah, so it was
So she had the
$800. Yeah, that he bought.
Escalade.
Yeah,
But she also had the car she had a Kia that she had to given to a friend,
hmm
and the friend was supposed to be covering the payments for it,
but stopped.
but stopped.
Yeah.
They returned a car, and she found out that the friend had not made payments on the car for months.
Yeah, and that was in her name. So she's got this mountain debt that's mounting up.
Okay, so let's at that point with the Kia, you have an Escalade, right?
Yep.
Which you probably can't afford at this point, but whatever,
No.
right? So you have an Escalade, you have a Kia, which you haven't made payments for months. Wouldn't you just let the Kia get like repossessed at that point?
Well, yeah, exactly. Or whichever one's going to cost you less. you'd keep the one that costs you the least to maintain, to drive, to whatever.
Well, which would be the Kia, but we're thinking, okay, think as a 20-year-old, right? 20-year-old, you have a Kia.
Oh yeah, versus
and you have an Escalade.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
right. So in this 20-year-old mind, I'm going, okay, I'm keeping the Escalade.
Yeah.
I'm going to send back the Kia, because also you got to remember, it had there had been payments on this Kia made for months. So let's say that the payment was $200 a month.
Yeah.
But they hadn't paid for 4 months.
Yeah.
Right. They're going, crap, I got to pay $800 plus my next car payment. So I got to pay $1,000 for this Kia.
Yeah.
Hey, but I'm paying $800 a month for this Escalade. I'm just going to, why would I do that when I can just pay for the Escalade?
Exactly.
I'm putting thoughts in her head, but this is me as a 20-year-old. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But the problem is with this is that her boyfriend is a multi-millionaire, and he deposited money into her account every now and then, like $2,000, $3,000 into her account to try and help get her back on track. Now, from an adult's point of view, if she's having problems keeping up payments, why put a down payment on a car for her and expect her to then, pay for it? I mean, $800 a month is not cheap.
Yeah.
And if she's
she was just a waitress at Dave & Buster's still at this point.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So she wasn't making, millions of dollars. So I think that's a bit strange. That's another thing that strikes me as a bit strange. He knows the situation she's in. He knows that she's not earning lots, yet he goes and puts a down payment on a car that she probably can't afford. So that's really strange.
So she has a car she can't afford. She has a apartment which she can't afford.
Yeah. And she's got all this mountain debt now. Also, she had on July the 2nd, she had gone on to Craigslist. She had used Northfleet, this guy that she was seeing. She used his computer and she posted an ad on Craigslist, putting all her kitchen and living rooms furniture for sale. So she's selling off her belongings to try and pay back some of this money. So she's highly stressed, highly strung out, and to top all of that, we then have the problem that she witnesses somebody leaving. He had this condo, McNair. He had this like condo that he used to go and have like quiet time in. So away from the family, he had this condo that, and a lot of people do
bachelor
this.
pad.
Yeah, basically.
This is bachelor pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she had keys to go over there whenever she wanted. And they would go over and meet over there. He would say goodnight to his kids and stuff, and then go out and then go and meet her at this condo.
Okay. This is at 105 Leah Avenue in Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another thing that doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she has Escalade, can't afford. She has the apartment, she can't afford.
Yeah.
She has keys to this condo that he owns that he goes to every now and then that they meet at. Why don't you say, hey, look, why don't you at least move into the condo for the time being? Because I got the answer before I even finish this I already have the answer. Yeah. So will you stay here? You take care of yourself. You get yourself on your feet, and then. But he doesn't because once again, it's his bachelor pad.
Exactly, and he can't have anyone else over there if she's living there.
He can have her. He can have her over at specific times.
Yeah.
But there's also there's also some trust there because he gives her keys.
Yeah. So she could essentially go over there anytime she wanted, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is that as well. So he, if he does have other people back there, then surely that's a risk because she's got keys to his pad. So I don't know. So the other things that mounted on top of this that sort of made things a bit worse for Jenny was that she found, she believed that she saw somebody coming out of his apartment. Yeah. As well. And so she's now got it in her head that he's also seeing other people, which he assured her he wasn't. But
she was kind of right, though.
She was. Yeah, she was, unfortunately.
What she saw was correct.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And she had a roommate who was the one that moved out and left her, this Emily. And this Emily Andrews told the police that she had confronted Steve about this and said, look, I saw someone coming out of your house and what's going on. And he said, no, it's completely innocent. There's nothing going on. It was just completely innocent, and sort of tried to put her mind at rest. But she was convinced that he was cheating on her with other people, and it sounds like she was right. Yeah,
because he had, in addition to his wife, he had another girlfriend.
Yeah, so this is Leah. Now I can't pronounce her surname. Ignagma. I don't know. Leah. Let's just call her Leah.
Leah Ignagani. Ignagani.
Okay.
Something like that.
So Leah, let's just call her Leah. This is the woman that she saw leaving his downtown apartment, and the one that she used to go over with the keys. And then she also found condoms in his possession. So not good, really.
Yeah. So on July 1st. So she had this thought that he was seeing someone else. Who he was seeing Leah. Then sometime on July 1st. Jenny ended up finding the proof that she had been looking for, which was not just condoms, but used condoms at the condominium that they would frequent together.
So Leah Ignagni met McNair in early May. So they started dating in early May of that year.
Oh.
So they had been dating for a while. And she told the investigators that she noticed a woman in a black Escalade following her after she had left the condo. So she had then seen the same Escalade following her and circling around. So she knew something was going on because she had been followed quite a few times. And so, a few days before their deaths, Jenny found the used condoms in the apartment, and she sort of hit the roof. So, the poor girl, her world is sort of falling down all around her ears, really. She's looking pretty desperate, pretty stressed out. And it's all getting on top of her. I mean, that must have been an awful thing to find. It must have been a horrible thing to suspect and then find out that you were right.
And so on July 1st, her day was, after she found the condom, sounds like her day was really erratic, right?
Yeah.
So she did clock in she did go to work.
Yeah.
And at some point she clocked out she had a half-hour lunch break, but she did not return for 2 hours.
No, that's right.
But when she did get back, she ended up telling her boss that she needed to leave, and he sent her home for the night.
Yeah.
Because, no one wants to be working Dave & Buster's
No,
thinking about used condoms.
that's right.
Nobody.
No, she's not going to
Nobody
be
wants to
any
do that.
use to anyone while she was at work either. So it's probably best that they did send her home. But yeah, so it's not good. Not good at all.
And the other thing that night, so also on July 1st,
Yeah.
Jenny ended up asking a man by the name of Adrian Gillum Jr.,
Mhm.
someone that she had only known for a few weeks, how to buy a gun. So she asked him, "Hey, how do I buy a gun?"
Yeah.
Happens that Adrian happened to be having financial problems too, and had a gun. So because he needed some extra cash, he let her know that, "Hey, I have a gun that I can sell to you."
Yeah. So that's not great. But then it got even worse because just past midnight, so this would be July 2nd, Jenny was arrested on DUI charges after she refused a breath test. Now, she was out driving with Steve McNair and one of his friends. So Steve McNair and one of his friends was in the vehicle. Jenny's driving. She gets out and they arrest her because she refuses to give a sample, which I don't know if that's standard over there, but over here it's standard. If you refuse a sample, you just go straight to the police station. So that's what's happened.
Same thing here.
Okay, so she's been then sent out there. Now, nicely, McNair did arrange to pay her bail for that, so he didn't leave her in there.
Now he while he was free to go, he did sneakily get away, so got out because he's Steve McNair.
Of course,
he couldn't be seen, so they did the whole hocus pocus. He disappears and was never seen.
Yeah. So there was he didn't pick her up from the police station, which she was really angry about, because understandably. I mean, he paid her bail to get her out, but he didn't pick her up, so she had to make her own way out. And he managed to pay for her to get out. She managed to get out, but was angry with him again. So she's raging at this point. And he said to her, "Look, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it again. Let's just forget it tonight, and we'll talk about it again." And then 4 a.m. that morning, he was in Leah's apartment with her.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's not great, is it?
No, that's not at all. That's crazy.
I mean, he's just flipping from one to the next. What are these girls doing?
Yeah.
Why are they letting this happen?
I don't know. Is it the money? Is it I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know why well, I mean, obviously I don't know. It doesn't really, I mean, nowhere sort of documents the fact that they were in love with him, that it was anything more serious. They'd only been together a few months. It wasn't like it was a long-term thing.
Yeah, they had to have known that he was married.
Of course.
And Leah had to have known that there was someone else if some woman was following her.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop her.
No, I mean, there's nowhere documented. I did look to see if there was anything documented by Leah or any reports to say that she knew that he had another girlfriend and that she was fine with that. There's nothing really about. She basically just said that they got together and they were going to stay together. That's how it was. They were not going to split up. They were meant to be, and that's how it was. And I think, really, the guy's married. And he's not looking to leave his wife anytime soon. Although Jenny was reported to have told family and friends that he was going to get a divorce and marry her. So she believed that he was going to divorce his wife and he was going to marry her. So maybe Leah thought the same thing. Maybe she thought he was going to divorce his wife, leave everybody else, and she was going to be like the one.
This is insane.
It is. It's crazy.
So that whole July 2nd, early morning, July 3rd, crazy goings on. Now, Jenny was also, so she was in contact with her ex-boyfriend at the time.
Yep.
Throughout the day. Yep. So even when she was arrested, she contacted him.
Yeah.
Hey, get the car. And then contacted him about everything about what happened with Steve. So he's completely in the know. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
They seem a lot closer than just friends.
Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's just like maybe it's confidant, a friend of hers. I don't know whether it's something like that, somebody she can trust and rely on. Maybe it's somebody that she knows is not going to mess her around. It doesn't really say why they split up. It doesn't actually say why they split up in the first place. So
well,
there's
it might
no
have been the fact
reports.
that at this point he was working at White Castle, so maybe he wasn't
okay. Yeah.
he didn't have the best. Yeah, because so they went to Nashville because he wanted to be a rap star, right?
That's right.
So you have these huge ideas like, yeah, I got this boyfriend. He's going to Nashville. He's going to be a rapper. He's going to be great. And then boyfriend ends up working at White Castle. So you're like,
not quite the rap star that you thought he was going to be.
No, I mean he's wrapping up those sliders for people to eat. That's about it.
So technically he's a rapper. He's made it big.
Yeah, he's a rapper. Yeah, there you go.
What more do you want? Come on. So basically over this sort of 24-hour period, things are pretty shit for Jenny, to be fair. And then there are, they have these text messages. We've managed to get the text messages between her and Steve McNair, and this is earlier on July the 3rd. So she texts him in a panic, and basically says, I'm going to have a breakdown because I'm so stressed. And this is like 10:05 a.m. She messages him and says, baby, I might have a breakdown. I'm so stressed. He messages back and says, everything's going to be okay. She then says, look, I might need to go to the hospital. What's wrong with me? I can hardly breathe. So she's having panic attacks because of all this stress. He then says, where are you? She messages back and says, I just want this pain in my chest to go away. He messages back and says, do you want me to come and see about you? And she says, if it doesn't go away, I'm going to the hospital. He says, okay, please let me know. I'm here if you need me. So, it's sounding a little bit like he's concerned. Now, that afternoon, after she made the arrangements to buy the gun, she then sent a message to Steve McNair to meet him. So she sends a message. This is at 4:04 p.m. on July the 3rd. And she says, baby, I have to be with you tonight. I don't care where. Then she texts him again and says, tell me you're going to be with me. And he doesn't respond to either text message. So she's kind of like, desperate to see him, and he doesn't even reply. So she then speaks to her shift manager at work that night, and she says to her shift manager, my life is just shit and I should end it. So that's a major, if somebody said that to you and they were having a stressful time, you could, it's your work colleague, you see them a lot. That would raise flags to you if somebody said that to you.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag.
I mean, that's if somebody said that to me at work, a work colleague who I knew was like, it means people talk at work, don't they? If you knew someone was stressed out and they're acting a bit down, and then they come and say that to you, I don't know. I think I would be checking. I'd be checking on
something.
Her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think a problem is I think a lot of people don't want to like overstep boundaries.
Yeah.
So they're very cautious of what they do, right? So you can offer help, but if someone is like, no, I don't need help, then what are you supposed to do?
Well, exactly. I mean, she's got these two guys. She's got like this Steve McNair that she's having this sort of affair with, or this relationship with. And then she's got Northfleet, who's her ex-boyfriend, who she moved there with. And he bless him. I mean, he tried to open up, he tried to get like credit cards and stuff, and he tried to help her pay back the money so that she wasn't so stressed.
On the 3rd, he texted Jenny saying, "Hey, I got approved for a $5,000 line of credit."
Yeah,
and he was gonna use that line of credit to help her.
I know. That's really lovely, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is.
Steve McNair is I'm guessing multi-million pound. He's got multi-millions. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he could quite easily, the amount of debt that she's in is not even like 20 grand. So really, I mean, I know that he did deposit like thousands into her account every now and then, but he could
sneeze or fart $20,000, and that's nothing.
So he could wipe out all this stress for her, wipe it all out if he cared about her that much.
Yeah.
So,
but he doesn't.
No.
Let's be honest.
Exactly.
From everything we've read and everything we've talked about, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't make it go away, but he could have done. So, that makes you think it's a bit strange as well. She's a young girl. He's like 35. She's 20. So she's a young girl and she's having a lot of stress like this. You would have thought he would have just gone, oh, do you know what? Look, I don't need this hassle in my life. Let's just pay it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you go. The stress girl's gone and the happy girl is back. But unfortunately, it doesn't really happen like that. And I think from looking at this, to me, she seems like she is in a hopeless position. It seems to me she's got debt everywhere. She's in an apartment she can't afford. She's in a relationship with somebody who's quite clearly cheating on her. She's just, it sounds like she's quite desperate, to me. And then obviously this is where we come to the evening where she does meet up with Steve, and ultimately they both end up dead.
Oh, okay. So she buys a gun. Do you know how much did she pay for the gun?
No, I haven't got that. No, I couldn't find that.
Okay. So sometime in that evening, so the evening of July 3rd, she meets up with Adrian.
Junior.
Buys the gun.
Yep.
Okay. So sometime I'm looking at this right now. So sometime after 6:30. Okay. So let's see. And now we're getting to that evening. So about 8:30, Jenny ends up texting Steve about that evening.
Yep.
And so there's a bunch of text messages between 8:30 and 8:40. Basically, I think he said, "Hey, baby, we're gonna be. Actually, you want to be Jenny, and I'll be Steve."
Okay.
Hopefully, we have the same text.
I was going to say I don't think we do because I haven't got these. I know these because I've read them, but I don't think we've got these. But no, you go for it. You tell us what they said. I did the first one. You tell me the next lot.
Okay, so 8:35. That's the baby. This is from Jenny. Baby, where are you gonna be when I get off? 8:50 p.m. Steve McNair. I'm at home right now, baby. What time do you get off? Kazemi. Around 11. Kazemi. Where are you gonna be, baby? Where are you gonna be at, baby? McNair. At home till the kids fall asleep. Kazemi. Okay, I'll call you when I get off. Okay, that last message was at 9:18 p.m. So then at 8:30 p.m., Kazemi clocks out for her lunch break at Dave & Buster's. 9:16 p.m., Kazemi receives a call from Gilliam, Adrian, the gun
guy.
owner.
Yep.
The gun guy. 9:23 p.m., Kazemi returns from her lunch break. So between 9 and 9:30 p.m., a friend of Steve's, Doug Crow, calls him, and Steve tells him that he's been fishing all day and was going to shower before meeting up with him and his girlfriend. Okay. 10 p.m., Kazemi and a friend, Courtney Carter, speak on the phone, and Kazemi asks for friend Lucretia's. Sorry, I'm going to try my best on his name. Lucretia Polite's number.
Okay.
Kazemi clocks out at Dave & Buster's about 20 minutes later, and she texts Steve. 10:23 p.m. Kazemi, do you want to get out and drink? 10:35 p.m. McNair, probably not, baby. Having trouble with the kids getting to sleep.
Oh, he's lying, isn't he?
He's lying. Yeah, because he's going.
Because he's
going
to meet his friend. Exactly.
His friend, Doug. Yeah. So this was like an hour after he's like, "Hey, I'm going to shower. I'm going to meet up with you." So he's out with Doug.
Yeah.
10:30 p.m. Kazemi calls Polite or Poletti, whatever you want to say, and tells her she's going to McNair's condo. 10:45 p.m. Text from Kazemi to Steve. Okay, I'm going to go to the condo in a minute. 10:59 p.m. McNair. Okay. 10:45 p.m. Sometime between 10:45 p.m. and 11 p.m. Crow calls Fauzi Sad Ali of Yellow Cab Company to pick them up from Blue Moon Lagoon. Yeah. Fauzi Sad Ali, that's also the guy that picked up Steve from the DUI. So he's like his little
buddy.
His little buddy, little contact buddy.
Yeah.
So between 10:45 p.m. and 11, Crow calls him to say pick us up from the Blue Moon Lagoon. 10:55 p.m. to 10:58 p.m. Kazemi's home computer is used. 10:28 p.m. Text from Kazemi to Steve. They asleep, babe? 11:34 p.m. Steve. They're on their way.
So his kids are on the way to sleep at 11:34 p.m. So he's trying to get his kids to sleep. That's late for kids to be going to sleep.
They were asleep because we know that he was
Of course,
out, right?
exactly. So he was out with his friends.
So we know so his buddy, his Doug Crow, is more than likely out with him at 10:45, between 10:45 and 11.
Of course,
at the Blue Moon Lagoon, right?
Yeah.
So Steve doesn't want. This is not a night that Steve wants to spend with Kazemi.
No. That's right. So he basically just wants to go out with his buddies, and he's just sort of fobbing her off, saying that he's trying to get his kids to sleep. So she's like, "Oh, okay. There's nothing I can do about that. Obviously, his wife's there. Can't really moan." But actually, he's out with his mate in the pub, in a club, and great. So yeah, and this brings us on to like July the 4th. So this is like early hours. This is like 12:02 early hours, and now Gilliam or whatever he's called, the gun guy, then calls Jenny and asks that if they can get together now.
What does that is that what get together now? Or is this for the gun, or is this something else?
Exactly.
I think it's something else.
You think maybe he's trying to like chat her up?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Now this is like 12:06 a.m. Jenny and Northfleet are texting. So she's texting Steve earlier on. Now she's texting Northfleet again. So there's this like the two of them. She doesn't seem to get the admiration she wants from Steve. So then she bounces back to this like former boyfriend. But that's the last conversation. 12:06 was the last time he heard from her.
That almost sounds to me like if she's looking for that attention from someone, that she's not. It doesn't sound like she'd be fully committed to like ending everything, No, if you're in a point where it's like I'm going to kill somebody, then I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah,
you're not reaching out to someone else for that attention.
No, but she's just kind of keeping him close, isn't she? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. She hasn't got a lot of family. She hasn't got, her mum was killed. She's come from Iran over to America, and, she's got this boyfriend that now they've sort of split up. He's kind of been in her life before, and now she's kind of a bit on her own, and Steve's messing her around. So she's got this like guy to bounce back to every now and then. But now the problem is, now Steve's finished with his friend. He then texts her, and she's already there.
So this is at 12:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Ali drives them to Losers, a bar on Division Street. Steve stays there for about 20 minutes before leaving with Ali. And at that point, that's when he texts Kazemi, who's, like you said, at the condo. So at 12:38 a.m., Steve texts Kazemi, on my way. 11:38 a.m., Kazemi, K. 12:48 a.m., Kazemi, you want me to open the gate? 12:52 a.m. No, open the front door. 1:14 a.m. It's open. Okay, so let's do this timeline, right? So 12:30, we know that he gets dropped off at Losers. He stays for maybe 20 minutes. So we'll say by 12:50 a.m. he's leaving Losers with Ali.
Yeah,
right?
He's driving.
So he leads with them. 12:38. Okay, so 12:38, he's on his way. Okay, he's not on his way. We know that.
No.
Still at Losers.
That's right.
12:48. Okay, 12:48 a.m. Because do you want me to open the gate? He answers at 12:52 a.m. No, open the front door. Okay, so maybe around that time he's leaving, right? So about 12:52 a.m. we'll say he's either left or he's in the process of leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the 1:14 a.m. call, Kazemi ends up placing a call to Steve.
Yeah.
We don't know what the call was about or what was discussed,
or whether he answers.
Oh yeah, exactly. 1:17 a.m. Gilliam, the gun guy.
3 minutes later.
3 minutes later, the gun guy texts Kazemi, "You good?"
So he's texting her at like 1:17 in the morning. This gun guy. I mean, that's weird, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and so they talk at 12. An hour and 15 minutes later, he's texting saying, "Hey, you good?"
Yeah.
Which, it's really complete. I don't know. It could be completely out of context, but it's just strange, right?
Yeah.
Right. You good?
That's right. In the middle of the night. And now then we got the timeline in that between sort of 1:15 and 1:30 in the morning, Ali drops Steve McNair off at the condo where he sees Jenny's car and he watches
Yeah.
Steve McNair walk to the door before he leaves. So he's a cab driver, this guy. So he drops him off at the condo and then leaves. Now this is like 1:30. Now he had messaged her at like 12:38 saying on my way. Now, I mean, this is like an hour later.
Between 45 minutes and an hour later, yeah.
So he's, it's an hour
But
later. I would be mad if I was her.
Okay, but even if we were saying he left at 12:52 a.m., so we're talking at least, 25 minutes. Okay, I can see that. That might be reasonable.
But bearing in mind,
minutes.
She thinks that he is putting his kids to bed. She doesn't know that he's out. She thinks that he's putting his kids to bed. So, I mean, this is like, how long does it take to put some kids to bed? Surely, it's a bit strange. This is a very strange timeline, I think.
It is. And actually, let me do this. Why we have this up? Losers, Division Street. I bet you it's not even, maybe it's still open. Who knows? Okay, so, it looks at it. It's still open. Losers Bar and Grill on Division Street.
Yeah.
And then he lived at 105. It was 105. Leah Avenue. Okay. Because I don't know Nashville. It's a 7-minute drive.
So it's not an hour, is it? Or like even 45 minutes. No. It's 7
minutes. It's 7 minutes with traffic. So I'm looking right now and like there's like heavy traffic because it's like downtown Nashville,
right.
When we're recording this, it's rush hour. So
she must be going mad.
Yeah, we're talking this 2 miles away. So he's 2 miles away from his home.
Yeah.
So something else. So either he did not leave at 12:52 or he went somewhere else before he ended up back at his condo.
Yeah.
Now, this is a bit strange too, right? So then at 1:14 a.m., right, we said that because Amy texts Steve saying it's open.
Yeah.
But as soon as she texts, she then calls Steve at the same time.
Yeah.
So is there would you assume that he's there, or do you think it's not until closer to 1:30 that he gets there? Because why would she call him, say, hey, it's open, then call him like immediately after?
Well, maybe because I do that sometimes. If I text and then think, I just might as well just ring. It's easier just to ring and say like, where are you? And then rather than trying to text and wait for a reply. So maybe that happened, but we haven't got anything on the logs there to say whether the call actually connected or, whether he answered or anything. So we don't actually know.
Now, here's this other strange thing, right? So then we know that he, sometime between 1:15, according to Ali, sometime between 1:15 and 1:30 a.m., he dropped him off. But then Steve calls Kazemi back at 1:29 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's our assumption. This is I'm going to say it's assumption, but I'm pretty sure at 1:29 a.m. he was not with her, because there'd be no reason for him to be calling if he was with her.
Exactly.
So let's say, okay, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say at 1:29 a.m., that's probably when he got back to the condo.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So let's say, so basically he had 40 minutes, let's say 40 minutes to get from Losers 2 miles away to his condo.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there's something else that was going on. Him and Ali went somewhere else, or the timeline is just not working for me.
No, that's right. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So after this call at 1:29 a.m., we really have no idea what occurs. So the timeline kind of gets a little blurry.
There's nothing. Yeah.
We do know that Norfleet, the ex-boyfriend, was working his late night shift at White Castles, and he did not get off until 3:09 a.m. Apparently, he picks up a friend, and they end up going to hanging out at his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's
So
strange to me, but whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
Some people that work nights, everything's completely different. But it's so strange to me. I understand working till 3:09 a.m., whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole idea, like, hey, buddy, I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go hang out in my apartment. For me, if I work like until 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm doing? I'm going home. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
So,
But
I'm also old. I have old balls, so
This is
I'm
true.
going to bed early.
So from the police, so I've read the police report on this, and the police report starts with on July the 4th, 2009 at 1:35 p.m. So we're looking at, so this is July the 4th in the afternoon. So we know that Steve has gone back to the apartment early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
On July the 4th. So this is, where are we? We're up to, so we're up to, he's gone, Northfleet's clocked out at White Castle. He's picked up a friend. They've gone and hung out at his apartment. So at 7:21, between 7:21 and then 7:26, the gun guy texts Jenny's phone again, "What up?" Which is bizarre. Exactly. And at noon, Northfleet's friend calls someone to pick him up from the apartment. So he had stayed at Northfleet's place. So basically Northfleet and his buddy had stayed over.
So there's Northfleet's alibi right there, right?
So he's got his alibi sorted. So he wasn't shooting anyone anywhere. And then it gets, this is 20 to 1 in the afternoons. This is the 4th of July. And we have got then this Wayne Neely who drives by McNair's condo. So this Wayne Neely is a friend of his, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay, so this is his friend.
Good close friend.
Okay, so he goes.
This is strange too, right?
Yeah.
This is strange as well when he shows up, right? So 12:40 p.m. he shows up at his condo.
Yeah.
Now he goes into the condo. He goes in, walks in, goes. Well, when he walks in, he sees both Steve.
Yeah.
And Jenny.
Yeah.
Laying on, I believe, on the couch, right?
Yeah.
He assumes that they're sleeping. He goes in and gets himself a drink.
This I find really hard to believe.
This is crazy. He goes in, gets himself a drink, comes back out. Then he realizes, oh my God.
Yeah.
I just found, so then so he sees them. He contacts a gentleman by the name of Robert Gaddy and tells him, hey, he basically says, hey, I found someone shot inside the condo, and he didn't recognize who it was.
No. Now, also,
so his buddy who walks past the body, assumes they're sleeping, knows his friend is Steve McNair, right? He's friends with Steve McNair.
That's right.
Maybe he doesn't know who Jenny is. I can possibly, but knowing Steve is not hiding this at all. So maybe Wayne does know who Jenny is.
Yeah.
Gets a drink, sees them, goes, oh my God, someone's dead. I'm going to call up Rob. Hey, Rob. Someone shot here at the condo. Don't know who it is.
Yeah, which is strange. And also, Steve. He found Steve. Steve was sat on the sofa, so he was sat upright on the sofa, and Jenny was at his feet. So she was on the floor at his feet. So that's not a normal way for people to sleep anyway. I mean, you'd expect if they were both lay on the sofa, perhaps you could sort of go, "Oh, they're asleep." But not like, not like that. So the police report that I read says that on July the 4th, 2009 at 1:35 p.m. a 911 call was placed to the emergency center in regard to 2 apparently deceased people inside an apartment condo at 105 Lear Avenue in Nashville. So the telephone call was made by the Robert Gaddy. And
yes. So let's go back to the time. You mentioned the time, right? That was 1:35 p.m.
1:35 p.m.
Wayne Neely, once again, Wayne Neely arrives at the condo at 12:40 p.m.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't call Robert Gaddy until 12:51. So he's in that condo for
11 minutes.
11 minutes before he calls Robert Gaddy. So he doesn't call 911. He calls Robert Gaddy. Like, hey, there's someone dead here, right?
Yeah, which is weird.
He waits for Robert Gaddy to show up. They go back in the condo together.
Yeah.
So we don't know how long it takes for Gaddy to get there, right? I don't have anything on it, right? But what we know is it takes another 46 minutes until someone calls 911.
Yeah. That's strange.
So 55 minutes since Wayne Neely gets to the condo, the 911 call is made.
Yeah. That's a long time.
That's a really long time.
I mean, yeah,
What?
I think that's really weird.
Okay. Why isn't your first call to 911? Okay. First question.
Exactly.
Why is it not?
Why is it not to 911? Surely the first call would be, oh my God. Why would it be to a friend of yours? I don't get that.
Yeah. And so then you call your friend. Okay. Second question. You call your friend.
Yeah.
You leave. You wait for your friend to show up.
Yeah. Before you still haven't called 911.
Before, yeah, but you still haven't called 911.
That's right. That's just
then
weird.
Then it's the friend. It's not even the guy that finds the body. It's the friend that he calls to come see the bodies that calls 911.
Yeah. So now on the crime scene observations, it says that both bodies were inside the living room. McNair was on the sofa and his body was leaning to the left side. Jenny's body was on the floor near his feet, with her body in between the sofa and an ottoman. So it says that rigor mortis was set on both sides and lividity was consistent with the positions of each body. So they could see that the bodies hadn't been moved because obviously the lividity had shown. So they could see that they hadn't been moved. So they basically had been dead for some time because obviously that had all set, and rigor mortis was set on both bodies. So, so it depends on the temperature and that sort of stuff as to how quick or how slow rigor mortis does actually set in. But, so that they've been dead for some time. Now, McNair had a gunshot wound to his right temple, and there was another exit gunshot wound also to his right temple. He also had another gunshot wound in his left temple and two to his chest.
Okay, let's go back to this. Okay.
Yeah.
So he has, so 2 head wounds.
Yeah.
Right?
And 2 chest wounds.
One to the right side temple.
Yeah. And one to the left.
One to the left side temple.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 was shot twice in the body.
In the chest, yeah. Now, the examiner does say that any one of these, just one of these injuries would have killed him.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
So there was no need for 4.
So, but here's the other crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
So only, from the examiner, only one of the shots was done closer than 3 feet away.
Yeah. So 3 of them were done. 3 of them were done for at least 3 foot away, and only one was less than that. Is that right? That's the right way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know which ones it is, but this is my assumption, right? My assumption is body. That's going to be farther than 3 feet away.
Yeah. I'm
guessing that's probably the first 2 shots. If I have no basis for this.
Yeah.
But if I'm body, right? Next shot, temple.
Yeah.
But then you go to the other temple, and that's the one that's closer than 3 feet.
Well, see, I looked at it as she, not looking at the sort of layout of the apartment, but I looked at it as she shot it. I thought that the first one would be left temple, then it would be body as she walked round, and then if she sat on the sofa next to him, which she did, and then she put the gun to her temple, that could be that the bullet went through her head and then through his. So that would be the last temple. So she could have gone temple first, walked in front of him, 2 shots, then sat down next to him, shot herself, which would have then possibly gone through his temple. That's the way I kind of saw it in my head. Because that would make sense that one is the 3 are far away, but then the last one would be the close one, because obviously she was right next to him.
Interesting.
So, I mean, there's no doubt in this that she did it. There's no doubt that she did it, despite what you can read on Reddit. I think people on Reddit seem to think that there's this place that celebrities seem to go when they fake their own deaths. So there's got to be 1,000 celebrities in this like fake island somewhere that are all living this life that's amazing. But it's quite obvious. Yeah. I mean, I read both the autopsy reports. Neither of them had alcohol in their system, which I thought was quite weird considering he had been out all night, out all night with his buddies. So he had zero alcohol in his system. From the night before. She had 0 alcohol in her system. They had no traces of any drugs, nothing. So they were completely clean, both of them. So there's nothing really that could explain her moment of madness. I think she'd just, she just had enough.
I gotta think about that. No, I think, okay. I think the easiest answer is yeah, she did it, right?
Yeah.
And I think her shooting herself in the temple kind of shows that. But
Yeah.
there's something about these Gilliam, her connection with Gilliam, that makes me wonder, right?
Mm.
Like the text, hey, you good?
Mm.
What up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
it is strange. I mean, at the crime scene, it does say that there is bullet holes in the wall, and they have led to the conclusion that he was seated on the sofa and was likely asleep, because there's no defensive wounds, there's no defensive posture. He was just like sort of laid back. But then in the police report, which I couldn't find it in the autopsy report, but in the police report, it says that McNair's blood alcohol level was 0.15%, which is nearly double the standard for legal intoxication. So this could support the fact that he was drowsy. But when I read through the actual autopsy report, looking at the toxicology report, there was nothing to say anything about alcohol. So that was a bit strange. So was he just, was she, and the reason that, I mean, she was dressed in pink shorts, a pink top and a pink bow in her hair. So she was dressed right up, and they believe that she shot herself, sat next to him on the sofa and shot herself in such a way that when she died, she would fall into his lap. And because he was shot so many times, the police are led to believe that it was an overkill. And obviously we know with overkill, that tends to be, some sort of care is some sort of that somebody really cares about this. They just want it over because you just want to make sure it's done. And she, instead of falling into his lap in like a possessive kind of manner, she ends up sliding down his leg and falls at his feet on the floor. So the gun then goes under her head. Yeah. So she
Okay.
So it looks like she's, I mean, the outline of blood on the carpet and the pooling of the blood is consistent with with her falling. And, so now because of the lividity on both of their bodies, that shows that neither body was moved prior to the arrival of the police. So they were, that's how they sort of landed, if that makes sort of sense.
No, that absolutely does.
Yeah. There was no gunshot residue on his hands, so only on her hands. The gunshot residue was on her left hand, and that works. Yeah, so that works with the positioning of her and how she sort of fell. So I just think it's another one that's really sad. It's just, she seems to be at the end of her tether, but this wasn't the way to do it. Really, it's not the way to sort things out, is it?
No, not at all. It's basically two people making very poor decisions in life, and
yeah.
Now, it's tough because, like, Steve McNair didn't deserve to die. Yeah, he wasn't the best husband in the world. He wasn't. What he was doing was not right.
No.
And then what he was doing with Jenny wasn't right because he was leading her to believe that there was more to it than what it actually was. So you have so you're seeing someone who is in a bad spot, and you're not doing anything to help them get out of that spot, and you're actually making it a lot worse.
Yeah, and she's she's 20, so she's a young girl. I mean, he's 35, married with like 4 kids. So you would have hoped that he was sort of known better than, I mean, obviously he didn't know that this was going to happen. I mean, nobody sort of knew this was going to happen, but it just seems, I think it just seems a very strange way. I mean, she's kind of desperate. I can see how she's got herself into this sort of desperation. I get that. But I just think it's a very strange thing I mean, he's messed her around all night this night. He's messed her around the whole night to keep saying that he's like looking after his kids. She's waiting for him there. She rings him. He texts her and says he's on his way. An hour later, he's still not back. And I think she's just sat in that apartment thinking, getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And then when he comes in, bam.
It's insane, right?
It really is. Yeah, it really is. But I don't think there's any conspiracy theory in this one. I don't think there's, like with when we did the wrestling, you could see how people you can see how they can look at that and go, oh yeah, but what if the ex-husband came in? What if this? What if that? But with this one, it looks to me like it's pretty, you can sort of follow her sort of downward spiral. And I'm sad that nobody else saw that. Nobody else kind of clocked onto the fact that she was getting more and more desperate.
I think there was one person that did see it.
Yeah.
And I think it was Northleaf.
Ex-boyfriend.
I think it was
That's right.
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that guy is trying all he can, not earning a lot of money, but he's trying all he can to try and help her out of it.
Yeah. And unfortunately for him, he's one of the focuses of conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah,
so a lot of people think he was involved in it.
Yeah.
That he was the ex-boyfriend who was pissed off at Steve McNair for messing around with his ex-girlfriend, and he wanted her back, and
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's so unfortunate.
But he's got an alibi though, right? Hasn't he? He's got an alibi with his friend that they were there together all night. So,
yeah, and he he worked late, and then he went out with his buddy.
Yeah,
and I honestly, there's a lot of strange things that occurred after the murder. Yeah, you have Stephen Nair's buddy who doesn't call the police right away.
That's weird.
It's like, what is he trying to hide, and what is he trying to do?
Yeah.
You have the gun guy, Gilliam, who I think he's just trying to get with her. That's what it seems like.
So.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. He knows that she's sort of, she's bought a gun off of him. He knows she's obviously, you don't just go and buy a gun off a random stranger, which she did. And so maybe he's like, she's got a famous boyfriend, she's got a bit of money, perhaps he was having money troubles, maybe he's just trying to get with her just to maybe he liked her, maybe that's all it was.
Why? See, I don't understand why you would sell her a gun, man.
No, but I think the strangest thing in the whole thing, I think the strangest thing is the fact that Robert Gaddy was the one that made the telephone call, not his friend that found Steve McNair and her, and the fact that Wayne McNeely was there for nearly an hour before they phoned 911. Like, what was he doing in that? What was he doing in the apartment? What was he hiding or moving, or what was going on? Because if I walked into my friend's apartment and they were dead there in a chair, the first person I'd be calling is the police, not a friend of mine. So that's just, I find that's the strangest thing out of the whole case.
And with him, then the other strange thing was, like, after Gaddy calls 911, Neely then calls. This doesn't make any sense. He calls a judge, one of his friends that he's known forever. Like, he's like, hey, calls Judge Casey Moreland to tell him about the bodies. And then, like, he calls him again, like, shortly after. And then, Moreland's like, hey, you need to go back, because he had left the scene. He's like, you need to go back and you tell the officer everything. So it's like, what was going on with Neely that made him so? Like, he freaked out. I understand finding bodies.
Of course,
out,
of course you do. But for an hour?
But it's like, I know. It's so strange, right?
That, and obviously, like, from the crime scene, it does say that there was a lot of blood. Obviously, there was, and so
but he walked right past
exactly. How would you walk? Surely you'd be like, you'd go in and you'd look at them and you'd realize that there's a lot of blood. She's on the floor at his feet, in between his feet and an ottoman. So she's sort of squeezed in. It's a weird position to be in. Surely you double look at it to see what she was doing.
That's the thing too. He's like, oh, there must be asleep, but she was on the floor.
Exactly.
Oh, so frustrating. So when I read that and I see how long it takes for everything to happen and for him to not even call it 911, it makes me think, what is he hiding?
Yeah.
It might have been, was he hiding drugs? What was it? It was just, something is off with that.
Something's a bit
something's
a bit strange, and that's the one thing out of all of this whole thing that I just think doesn't make sense. Everything else you can kind of see it in a timeline going. That's the one thing I just can't really explain. I just don't understand that, because he obviously didn't move either of them, because you can tell that from the position of the bodies. You can tell that they haven't been moved. But so what was he doing? What was he doing for an hour? It's just weird.
So weird.
We will never know unless he sort of comes out and does an interview and tells us exactly what he was doing for a full hour.
Yeah.
An hour's a long time, which he's not going to do. So very strange, very, very strange case.
Definitely. But another good one. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this one. I enjoyed
Yeah.
looking into this one. I mean, I knew about it. I knew about, I remember when it happened, because of course it was 4th of July.
Yeah.
But I never knew like the details, because it was like one of those, for me, it was one of those stories like you hear about it, like, oh my God, Stephen McNair's dead.
Yeah.
And then you kind of forget about it. So
Yeah.
going back and actually reading all the details was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
There's plenty out there for people to read and to, think.
Oh, there's so much, so much.
So much stuff. I would say, hey, what do you think happened? But I think everyone's would be in agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
She killed him, then kill herself.
Yeah.
But if you have another idea, you have some other conspiracy theory, or you have you think Norfleet did it, or you think maybe Gaddy did it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know what you think. Or if you just agree with us that, yeah, it's just a double, I was going to say double murder. That was last week. It was just a murder-suicide.
Yeah. Simple but sad again. But if there's also anything that you think that we should cover, if there's any cases that are close to you or something that you've always been interested in, then just give us a shout on like Instagram or on Twitter or wherever you find us, and just let us know and we'll look into it. This one was an interesting one for me because I had absolutely no idea anything about this. It was really interesting to look in and then get to this point and go, oh, hang on, this doesn't make sense. And spend like ages on this. What could you possibly be doing in an hour? Interesting, very interesting.
Definitely. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for checking us out once again. Cherry, thanks for joining me once again. It kind of seems like this is going to be pretty much, this is a spinoff now, so I think we might need to come up with our own name here soon.
We should. That would be fun.
We definitely should. There you go. If you have a suggestion for our spinoff name, let us know, and maybe we'll go with it. But for Cherry, for me, Morgan, not for Captain because he's not here, I want to thank you for listening. Make sure to tell friends, tell loved ones, tell your parents, tell your grandma, tell whoever to check us out.
And give us 5 stars. Give us a 5-star review.
Yes.
That would
give
be
us
great.
5 stars.
5. No less than 5 is going to be tolerated. So 5 only,
or
please.
6. Give us 6 stars.
Give us 6 stars. Leave us a review, a nice review.
Definitely. All right. So until next week, thank you again and be nice.
Thanks for listening to Captain and Morgan. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. You can follow Captain and Morgan on Instagram @TheCaptainandMorgan, or you can visit their website at captainandmorgan.com.